The MLB draft is coming right around the way, and the Baltimore Orioles have the first overall pick of the draft. So it's going to be a very interesting one, and the Orioles have been very good. We put up a video on the Orioles last week, and we also did a prospect pipeline on Grayson Rodriguez, the Orioles' top prospect. And the Orioles, since we put up both of those videos, have not lost. And they're 500 now, they're 500 right now, and they could go on and, maybe push for the playoffs, maybe. And guess what? They're about to add another top prospect in their system. They already have two top 5 prospects in baseball, and Grayson Rodriguez and Gunnar Henderson. They just called up the number 1 guy in Adley Rutschman, who's now not a prospect anymore. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. There's a few guys who they could pick. We're going to go through their options of who they can pick and who I think they can pick all right here on Bleacher Brawls. This is a special MLB draft version of Prospect Pipeline. My name is Derek, and let's get straight into it. So the Orioles, obviously, they have the number 1 pick. Why? Because they had the worst record in the big leagues last year. And they are building their farm system, and they're building a lot of it. They could really use a pitching prospect, but there's none of them in this year's class. Top pitching prospect is, I think, Brock Porter at number 11 ranked. It was Dylan Lesko. He wasn't inside the top 10, but he had to get Tommy John surgery, so that's going to drop him out. That dropped him outside the top 10. So it's all position players. And the top 4, who are the main guys expected to be taken, it's mainly that top 4. They're all high school guys. So it's going to be very interesting. They could maybe go a college bat. I'll get into that later. But I think the 4 best options are all the high school players. Those 4 high school position players. Those are the guys who make the most sense for them. So I'm going to cover all 4 of those guys, plus I'll name drop a couple other guys as well later on. But first guy we're going to cover right here, we're going to go straight to the number 1 ranked prospect in this year's draft class, and that is Druw Jones, the son of 5-time All-Star, 10-time Gold Glover, and 17-year MLB player Andrew Jones. Druw Jones is almost a carbon copy of his dad, just a little bit taller and a little bit skinnier at this age. Does everything well, but he is exceptional in the field. His scouting grades by MLB Pipeline on the 2080 scouting scale is a 55 hit, a 60 power, 70 run, 65 arm, 70 field for an overall grade of 65. A very, 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 very solid prospect. 100% a solid prospect. Do not get that wrong. Obviously, hits right-handed, throws right-handed. He's very, very exciting. Very exciting. He was Gatorade's Georgia High School Player of the Year last year, and now it seems like his swing can still be a little bit of work in progress in time right now, but it seems like he does understand his swing and that he can make adjustments even against good pitching. So that's very good, but he runs very well. And I think the big thing is you're getting arguably the best defender in the draft and easily the best defensive center fielder in the draft. He's so good out in the field. You're going to get a guy with a very high floor. I love guys with high floors. Why? Because your chance of swinging and missing on them, are a lot less. But also, too, a lot of guys who have high floors have low ceilings. Druw Jones has a high floor and a very high ceiling. That's what makes it even better for him. A very high floor because of his fielding. At very minimum, he could get into an MLB lineup, I think, in a couple of years, just based on his defense with a little bit of a bat. But he has the potential to be a 5-tool player, and some scouts have even said he's a 6-tool player because he has the mental side, which is huge. That is so huge, so important to have. And in high school this past year, Druw Jones hit .568, scored 63 runs. He had 6 doubles and 13 homers. He also did pitch. He went 8-1 on the mound, 43 strikeouts in 33 innings. Was a 4.54 ERA, but he's not going to pitch. We know he's a center fielder. Let's be honest. We know that he is a center fielder, and a lot of people have him expected to go number 1. I would take him number 1 personally, I think, but I'm a little undecided, and I'll get into that later on why I'm a little bit undecided. From the Orioles' point of view, I'll get into that later. Because I think Druw Jones is definitely the most talented player, but when you're drafting guys, it's not necessarily just the most talented. There are a bunch of other factors that do unfortunately have to come into it. Second up, though, the number 2 guy, and also Druw Jones, the son of Andrew Jones. This one was a little bit surprising me because this is the second ranked guy now from MLB Pipeline, has jumped into this top 4. He wasn't nearly this high last year around this time, but he's really taken some strides. And that's the son of Matt Holliday. That's Jackson Holliday. Matt Holliday was a 7-time All-Star and outfielder. Now Jackson Holliday is a shortstop. He's not an outfielder. And last year around the showcase circuit, he did struggle a little bit, but he's been very good. This year, he broke JT Realmuto's national high school record for hits in a season with 89 in 41 games. He hit 685 with a 749 on base and a 1392 slugging. Like ridiculous. Like very, very good. That's actually crazy. And his scouting grades, he hits lefty, throws righty, 6'1", 175. Hit on a hit grade of 60, power 55, run 60, arm 55, and a field of 55 for an overall grade of 60. Better bat than Druw Jones, but the defense definitely worse. It is at shortstop. Now, will he stick at shortstop? I think so. I definitely think so. Now, who knows? Druw Jones, he is, I do want to go back to Druw Jones for half a second. He's committed to Vanderbilt. I do want to mention it. I doubt any of these guys will go through with their commitment, but I just want to state it just so it's out there. Jackson Holliday is committed to Oklahoma State, where his uncle is the head coach, Josh Holliday, and Matt Holliday is also a volunteer assistant there. Obviously, Matt Holliday being his dad. So, yeah, we'll see. I think he will stick a shortstop, at least short term, long term. Who knows? Maybe he'll move. I think he definitely can stick a short though, but I think it's going to be more need with the Orioles were to go with him, or whoever does pick him. It's more going to be more based on need and who they do have on the roster. I think more so than him being a shortstop or not. For him to stick at shortstop, I think that's what makes it interesting. But next up, the number 3 ranked guy. This guy was the number 3 ranked guy last year as well, and this is Elijah Green. Another guy who has a very good athletic background because he's the son of former NFL Pro Bowl tight end Eric Green, and he's 6'3", 225. Also, another high schooler. He's committed to the University of Miami. I doubt he'll actually go there. He bats righty, throws righty. He is also a center fielder, just like Druw Jones. And yeah, some people thought he was going to reclassify for last year's draft. He plays at IMG Academy. IMG, obviously, they're known for their sports. They're not as big in baseball as they are in like football. They're known for being the best team in the country by far. And but with all their sports, they have great facilities, amazing facilities, like college, borderline pro level facilities at IMG, which is great. And you look at his scouting grades, 50 on the hit, 60 power, 70 run, 60 arm, 60 field, an overall grade of 60. He's just a level down from Druw Jones. Realistically, you compare the two. Elijah Green has 50 hit, Jones has 55 hit. Jones and Green both have 60 power. The run for both of them is 70. Now the arm is 60 for Elijah Green and it's 65 for Druw Jones, and the fielding is 70 for Druw Jones compared to the 60 for Elijah Green. Elijah Green's just a click down from Druw Jones. I think that proves just how good Druw Jones looks as a prospect. But Elijah Green's still a very, very solid prospect. Whoever gets him, I think, will be very happy with him. And yeah, now some people did worry a little bit because he has proven that he can make very, very solid contact. However, there has been questions from time to time about his swing and miss, and he struggled sometimes in the batsman's elevated velocity, and there have been concerns about him being able to adjust to off-speed pitches and breaking pitches. But I think he kind of got rid of those fears, a lot of those fears, based on how he did this spring. And Elijah Green hit with IMG, hit 462 with a 592 on base and a 1,000 slugging, 9 homers, 11 doubles, 2 triples, and 32 RBIs. And this is all in 25 games. And he also stole 15 bases. He is one of the most unique athletes that's come out of draft in a long time. That's a quote from Baseball America writer Carlos Collazo. So, high praise there. A very, very good athlete, just like Druw Jones and even Jackson Holliday. But him and Druw Jones are the cream of the crop when it comes to pure athletes in this draft class. They are easily the cream of the crop when it comes to just, pure athletic ability. I think that's kind of where it stands right now. That they're just like right there. They're that cream of the crop when it comes to athletic ability, and they're right at the top, obviously, for being top prospects. Now, fourth overall in the draft is Termarr Johnson. Termarr Johnson was ranked second last year, and now it does suck because I couldn't really find any stats for him. I mean, it's actually been hard to find stats for him. But left-handed hitting second baseman who throws righty. He projects as a second baseman, even though I'm pretty sure he's playing shortstop in high school. But he clearly projects as a second baseman. 70 hit tool, 60 power, 50 run, 50 arm, 55 field, 60 overall. I think he's easily the best bat in this class. Now I think also him being a second baseman on shortstop, I think is going to hurt him a little bit, and why he's not really in the conversation for the first overall pick. As much as maybe Jackson Holliday is, I still think he's in the conversation, but I feel like Baltimore would more like if they're going to pick either Holliday or Johnson. I think they lean Holliday just because he projects as a shortstop and Johnson doesn't, which hurts him. But I feel like if Johnson wasn't a second baseman, he was a short, and if he could play shortstop, he'd be right up there because I think he clearly has the best bat in his draft. Some evaluators have given his hit grade an 80, which is crazy. He's been tremendous on the showcase circuit, and one scout even gave him a double Hall of Fame comparison, calling him a combination of Wade Boggs' plate discipline and Vladimir Guerrero Sr.'s bat to ball skills. You hear that, and that's like, holy smokes. Yes, he does hit lefty. If anyone is wondering, I do think I mentioned that, but just in case, he is committed to Arizona State, as I think I missed Elijah. No, I didn't miss Elijah Green. He's University of Miami. Johnson is committed to Arizona State. So for whatever reason, if he doesn't choose to go to the team that drafts him, he'll be going to a great team at Arizona State that's known for developing players. I'm pretty sure Spencer Torkelson went there, if I'm correct. But yeah, Johnson has great hand-eye coordination. He's very good. He's not really phased by that high velo or great breaking balls. Now people do wonder if him being listed at 5'10" is a little bit generous. But he has great ability to barrel balls, and people think his bat speed, along with his surprising strength, can make him a 25-30 homer threat in the big leagues, if not even more, from the second base spot, which, sounds great. Obviously, he's played shortstop in high school. He's not going to be shortstop in the pros. He's going to be a second baseman, 100%. It seems that he should be a solid defender at second base. So there is that. It seems like he will be solid at second, but he's definitely not going to be a shortstop. And now there are a couple other names I do want to run through, though, before we end this off. You have Brooks Lee out of Cal Poly. He is a shortstop. You also have Kevin Parada, a catching prospect. I don't really think that the Orioles will take a catcher. You have Jacob Berry from Louisiana State. Cam Collier from he is at I think he's at junior college, actually, even though he's high school age. He's the son of Lou Collier, Cam Collier, who's Lou Collier is a former big leaguer. And then Jace Jung at ninth, the brother of Josh Jung, the Texas Rangers third baseman. He is college at Texas Tech. And then Gavin Cross closed out the top 10 Cross at Virginia Tech. A lot of college bats right after that, but I don't see the Orioles going with that, honestly. If they go with one, it would probably be Brooks Lee, if I'm going to be 100% honest. There are a couple other names I do want to cover. Brock Porter's top pitching prospect. Justin Crawford, the son of Carl Crawford, is ranked at number 13 and 55 hit, 40 power, but 70 run, 55 field, 55 arm, 60 field. A lot of people say that he plays just like his father. So if that's true, a team could get a very good player. And then obviously a lot further down at 38, Kumar Rocker. As a Red Sox fan, Red Sox have been actually being linked to Kumar Rocker a lot lately. So we'll see where that ends up. And then I don't know where he is on the MLB pipeline list, but I do want to bring him up because he was kind of a star in college baseball. Let me see if I can find him at some point. I think he's in the 112, Ben Joyce from Tennessee, obviously the fireballing relief, probably reliever. Let's be honest. Let's be 100% honest. He's going to be a reliever. 80 grade on the fastball, slider, 50 changeup, 50 control, 45 overall grade of 45. He really just he went viral, obviously, when he hit 103 in his second appearance for Tennessee this year. And he averaged 101 on his fastball, and he touched 105. Now it is kind of, his fastball is a little flat, but it comes from that kind of low arm slot, and it's very hard to catch up to if you're not really looking for it. But who knows? Because Joyce missed 2 years in 2018 and 2019 with shoulder, elbow, and growth plate issues, and has very little track record. And he throws 80% fastballs. And he usually and he worked this past year on 3 days or more rest, and he didn't really pitch in close games in SEC play. But he is 6'5", does have the frame, he has the fastball teams look for, so he'd be an interesting pick as a third rounder, but probably maybe underslot, maybe not, I don't know. But he does have the fastball, a very, very strong fastball, and if teams could add a secondary, get that one of his secondary pitches to work, you could get a very lethal bullpen pitcher. So that's why I did want to bring him up. Because he's a clear and away bullpen pitcher, and there aren't many. I don't feel like there are many guys coming out of a draft who are clear bullpen pitchers who have like a dominant first pitch. And he has the dominant fastball, so I do want to bring him up. But that's going to wrap this up, and I'm going to say I do think Druw Jones goes first. However, the big question for me is, do they go college or do they want to go under slot? Because I think they could still get maybe one of the other three of that top four. They can maybe get under slot, or they could definitely get the college back to under slot. That's the only thing I don't know from the Orioles. Will they go under slot? If they do, they could go for a college bat. However, if I'm the Orioles, I'm just taking Druw Jones and just paying him whatever he wants for, as long as it's not too high. And yeah, you just take Druw Jones, best guy on the board. Makes too much sense. Yeah, that's what I would personally do. But yeah, that's going to wrap this one up. Thanks for checking this out. Then we draft is next week, right before the All-Star game. I think it's a Monday during the day before the Home Run Derby. I think it's when the first round is. Maybe it's Sunday. I can't 100% remember exactly which day it is, but yeah, it's next week basically. So I'm excited for it. Throw in the comments. What do you guys think are going to happen? Who do you think's going first? Who do you think your favorite team's going to pick? Right, I'm a Red Sox fan. I hope the Red Sox take Kumar Rocker because seems like they're really interested in him, and I think he actually could potentially see some bullpen time. I actually think he actually could be great in the bullpen, and I think they might want to do a Chris Sale type of thing the White Sox did with Sale and rush him up to the big leagues in a bullpen spot. But yeah, we'll see what happens. So let me know what you think. Who you think the Orioles are going to take first? Who you think your favorite team's going to take first? And also, if there's just any prospects in the draft class that you like that maybe went unmentioned. So yeah, thanks for checking this out. We'll have a prospect pipeline next Wednesday covering the Red Sox first draft pick. And yeah, we have more prospect pipelines down the line as well. Because our first one from 2 weeks from now will be on Enrique Bradfield Jr., the Vanderbilt center fielder, one of my favorite prospects in college baseball right now. So we're going to cover him, and as it's just after the draft, and give a little preview on what he could be like next year when he gets picked. So that's going to be very interesting. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. Check out all the links in the description, podcast, website, Instagram, Twitter, plus all the cruise tours. So check all that out. My name is Derek. Thanks for watching this Prospect Pipeline on Bleacher Brawls, and I'll see you next time.